want to start streaming music online. Well, I have good news and I have bad news. The good news is I may have some information on how to start. The bad news is there's 100 other videos that you could probably be watching on how to stream or how to be a pro streamer, how to pro game, how to make it on Twitch, how to make money, how to be a millionaire. I can't promise you any of these things, but I can promise you that I've been doing this consistently for about 4 years. That is playing music on Twitch that was otherwise just a gaming platform. But enough of that, let's go to the basics of what you actually need to do this online. So I'm assuming that you already have all this equipment, meaning you have an instrument, you have microphones, you have a mixing board. Well, that's like 80% of what you need. Regardless of where you're really at as far as experience, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. If you want to stream music, you just have to do it. And here's how. So with your equipment, you need to figure out how to get these things that you want people to listen to onto the internet. So besides all of the sound gear that you need, you obviously need to be able to see what you're doing, to watch everything. I personally use the Nikon Z5 and I have a wide camera angle lens. And having done this for years, I actually probably should have upgraded a long time ago, but if you're just trying to see what it's like to stream, I highly suggest do not splurge because you don't even know if you're gonna do this past a month or past a week. So you might as well just, you know, get the basics down and try out something like a webcam and see how it goes. So the reason why I am going with a mirrorless lens is because of just the overall fidelity and the quality of the camera. I mean, first of all, I could zoom out like this, but other than that, it's just you see it kind of a blurred background and you see razor sharp focus on my face. I could literally pick up any item and it'll autofocus, and that's kind of one of the really cool perks on something that has such a wide lens like this. Now you could spend all this money on cameras, but what really matters is your lighting. So let's start talking about that. I use a ring light and I've been using one for years. If you're just starting out at a budget and you literally have a house lamp, that's better than streaming in complete darkness. It's night and day, you can't even see me. Nobody's gonna wanna watch your channel if they can't see you. So needless to say, lighting is very important. Whether it's grabbing yourself a ring light, I mean, they have really cheap ones that you could just find online, or if you don't have any of that, you don't have to get fancy. I've literally been on the road before with no lighting, and I have taken the shade off and just pointed it towards me, and that was my lighting source. And I just fiddled with the white balance in the settings of my webcam. So do what you gotta do to stream. Now, as far as what holds your camera up, whether it's a webcam or a mirrorless camera or DSLR, you're gonna need a tripod of some sort. Why I really like this thing is because it's so flexible and you can mount it on pretty much anything. Now, they make ones that are magnetic, so if you have some sort of metal on your desk that you want to mount it to, it's really easy to just strap it on. But obviously you could also opt for like a cheap tripod that could just literally hold your equipment up. But for flexibility, especially if you're doing all kinds of different crazy mounts on your stream, these are relatively cheap and you could pretty much hold a lot of weight on them, but also be so versatile as to put them wherever you want on your setup. So now let's talk computers. For me, I really prefer a laptop. Even at home, I still prefer a laptop just because it's so versatile. You could take it on the go, especially with someone like me who gigs a lot and I travel so much that I just need to be able to take my setup and stream wherever I go. So yeah, great rule of thumb. If it can game, it can probably handle stream. While we're on the topic of computers, it is so important that you get internet. So for a stream that you want to look remotely okay, you're gonna want about an upload of at least 4 megabits per second. The very minimum is 4 though. Last but not least, you're gonna need some sort of software to be able to broadcast from, and the one that I use is called OBS. It stands for Open Broadcast Software. And it's literally exactly what it sounds like. So go ahead and download that now. It's gonna look really complicated. There's tons of tutorials on how to use it. And if you look up one, and I swear if you just give one of those tutorials some time, you'll be able to figure it out in no time. So let's go through my entire chain. How do I get sound from my microphone, from my guitar, into the software on OBS so that the beautiful people on the internet can hear you sing at the top of your lungs and create this beautiful magic coming out of your face. Let me go through my vocal chain first. So I have my Rode microphone here, and the reason why I really like this one, and everybody's different. So this one is the NTR. I love this mic. Rode gifted it to me. Shout out Rode. And it really suits my voice just because I have a very warm tone. Some other alternatives that I also use on stream have been the blue, baby bottle blue microphone. But yeah, feel free to explore other microphones. I mean, I've been through literally dozens of mics on my stream, and this is kind of the one that I've settled on. So I've got my microphone, and it's plugged into an XLR. The XLR goes into my mixing board, and I've used several in the past, but my mixing board is a QSC Touchmix 16. And I really like this because I could do solo stuff, which currently I have two things plugged in, my microphone and my guitar. But sometimes I like to set up my full band. In that case, I have all these plugs to plug into. I've got 16 channels to be exact. And I really like this board because it's got onboard effects. So when people are talking about reverb or like this, you know, just moodiness, you could literally do that all on this board. So for instance, I turned on my vocal effects so you can hear the beautiful reverb. And I just turned it off. All right, moving on to my instrument. Whether you play keyboard or a guitar or a mandolin or a trumpet or whatever, you're probably gonna need to plug it into the mixing board, and it's the same concept. For me, I use my Gretsch Guitar. I have an Electromatic 5420T. I've had it for years, and I am plugging directly with a 1/4-inch cable into my pedal board here. And just to quickly talk about my pedal board, it's just very simple effects. And obviously, if you're a guitarist, or if this is what you do, or if you want to do like a loop station or something more complicated than just tone pedals like what I'm doing here, you could obviously get crazy. But what I have is a tuner, because I need to tune my guitar, and I've got a compressor because I want everything to sound pretty level. And then I've got a tube screamer, which is a distortion pedal to pump up the distortion whenever I want it to happen. And then I also have a reverb pedal that I just passively have on at all times. And that's it, folks. That is literally my sound. So you're probably wondering how you're gonna get the sound from the mixing board over to your computer. I've been using an interface. Now there's several online that you could find, but the one that I like to use is the Focusrite Scarlett, the 2-channel Scarlett Focusrite. So you go out of the mixing board into your interface, and essentially your interface is converting all that audio into your computer, where you could essentially record the sound, or you could pick up the sound from your mixing board. After you set up your interface, it's actually really important that you hear yourself. So plugging straight into your interface, you're gonna need a pair of headphones. The ones that I use have been gifted to me by Orange Amps, and here they are. They're really nice. I have them plugged in directly into my 1/4-inch adapter into my Focusrite and stream just like this. Last but not least, you have to figure out what your levels are gonna be so that it sounds good on stream. Now, you could totally just call it quits here and just plug everything in a board and just set the gain to haphazardly somewhere. Or I 110% can believe that you could do this yourself. If you just spent a little bit of time just tweaking your sound, trying to figure out what it is you want the world to hear whenever you play, it's really not that difficult. If I could do it, you could do it. My last piece of advice for you is you should put a stream schedule together. Whether it's 2 times a week or more than that, maybe every day even, just do it. Be consistent. Get out there, get your name out there. People are bound to find you and follow you. The streaming world is just limitless. Honestly, I mean, once you get comfortable with this, you could add all sorts of effects, overlays, yada, 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 yada. The list continues on how you can customize your own stream. Thank you guys so much for watching. It's been a pleasure to educate you on how to stream music on the internet. And if you guys have any questions, make sure you drop them below. Give us a like, subscribe, and make sure you tune in for the next one. Thank you guys so much. My name's Raquel Lily. Peace.